Hello, I'm Ed Reed, editor of E-FWD, and I'm here today with Ian Taylor of Chorus. Ian, how are things going? How does training look these days?
Well, it's a changing landscape. It's a dynamism that we're trying to capitalize on. So it's good. We're quite new. We started, my co-founder and I, out of one of the largest training providers globally in wind and oil and gas, and we kind of felt that the digital representation and the challenges being faced by a lot of our customers weren't really being solved by the kind of digital applications that were on the market. I think there's lots of changing requirements. Workforce dynamics are really, really fluid just now. And employers, frankly, were just kind of struggling to keep up. So our solution kind of tries to pull together a lot of disconnected problems into one kind of streamlined solution and primarily look at solving and helping our customers solve challenges around workforce planning and workforce training.
And I mean, to boil it down, what sort of things should employers be thinking about to kind of keep obviously employees on board? I feel it's it's always very much the kind of the talk of the town, isn't it? Kind of jobs and skills, right?
Absolutely is, and I think it's been talked about. It gets a lot of attention because it is a real challenge, and I think that our big learning, one of the big reasons we set up Chorus, was we looked at how the challenges that our customers at the time were facing were much more nuanced than I think some people make out, certainly in government. So when you look at, for example, the transition from offshore oil and gas to offshore and onshore wind, it's not a very linear transition from moving one workforce, down manning one day and then up manning another. It's far more nuanced. So we found that actually a lot of the challenges being faced by customers were quite uniform across like the utilities and infrastructure sector. So challenges in high hazard industries were quite broadly similar and not just restricted to that of the energy sector. So there are lots of moving parts, and I think lots of people are struggling to keep up.
I mean, it feels like we're going from a sort of like a world of kind of quite sort of stark definitions, a sort of world of kind of black and white, into like much more nuance, much more complexity. Yeah. Do you think that people are ready for that change? I mean, sometimes it feels like we're sort of all sort of struggling to kind of keep up.
No, I think our primary market research kind of indicated the digital awareness and willingness to adopt is still quite low. I think we spoke last night about a scenario where I've just been asked to print off an Excel sheet and sign it and then scan it back in and send it. So digitization is still not fully fledged partly because what the requirements a lot of high hazard industries have are there's no margin for error. You physically can't get it wrong. So adoption is slower. I think there is an appetite to do it, but I think the pace of change in technology really mandates that we need to look at subjectively, and the challenges that industry faces, our customers face, are one that can't be solved quickly or without the use of supporting technologies like AI.
And I suppose looking ahead, obviously thinking about the future, thinking about what's kind of coming down the line, there's clearly a lot of uncertainty, but where would you like to be in, say, 12 months' time?
For us, we've just taken on a venture capital investment. We're based in Aberdeen. Our team are based all over the country, but we had to actually go to well out with Scotland to find venture capital investment because that infrastructure didn't really exist. So we've just taken, we've got a couple of partners based in London. Interestingly, the perspective that they have looking up to the Northeast is this is an area of real change and opportunity. So they were really looking for, it's not often that I can say being in Aberdeen was a real advantage for us, but it absolutely has been in this case because they understood that our levels of expertise and integrity in energy transition were really high. So they actually sought us out, and we've made a really good partnership. So for us, we're expanding the business. We've got, we largely work with some of the biggest utility providers across the UK, taking lessons that we've learned from our experience and careers in oil and gas, building out the team and expanding our business largely in the UK, but selected regions like the Middle East, Northern Europe. We work a lot in Poland and growing the team out from there. So quite an early stage. We've just taken on seed funding, so big 2 or 3 years for us coming up.
And are there sort of particular things that you need to achieve that will help you achieve those goals?
I think in industry, I think the lack of certainty amongst big infrastructure projects is tough to deal with. So I think we've obviously got the windfall tax, which affects sanction investment decisions in the oil industry. But I think from more wind or more nuanced energy sector, I think clarity from or even a defined and agreed strategy would be really helpful. I don't think that really exists at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. And in terms of sort of opportunities ahead, is there anything you're looking forward to? I mean, obviously, it feels like on the one hand we see the windfall tax. On the other hand, there is impressive strike prices for AR7.
Yeah.
There are some of these kind of quite interesting opportunities coming through. New support for CCS. Is there anything that you've got your eye on?
I think we're quite boring, but we're quite interested in the infrastructure that happens in between all of the above. And I think that's where the workforce challenges will happen specifically. I don't think it will be in any one bucket specifically. I think the workforce of the future, I think the workforce tend not to look at themselves in the categories to which they are assigned from a view from above. I think people tend to base their skill set based on their vocation. So I think we'll see a lot more transitional workers. I think there'll be a lot more requirement for people to look objectively about the skills they have in their workforce and how ready they are to adapt to quite a changing energy environment.
So I suppose there's kind of a question of complexity there for employers and companies, but also for employees about how to navigate this kind of new world.
Absolutely. I think clarity and visibility of where you are and what you're doing. And the other challenge that we deal with quite well, because we have unique experience from the oil and gas industry, is that invariably all these industries that we're discussing are operating in very high hazard environments. So there is no margin for error. So transitioning workforces in a high hazard environment is really complex, it's really detailed. You need to have an infrastructure or a tool like ours to help you map and plan that. And I think for us, we kind of see the complexity as an opportunity for us.
Perfect. A great note to end on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.